Hi, I'm Yeong Kang. I'm a master's student of Hwan University. I'm going to talk about my recent work, MEMHD, Memory Efficient Multi-Centroid Hyperdimensional Computing for fully utilized in-memory computing architectures. Our research bridges two emerging fields. First, hyperdimensional computing, HDC, is a machine learning technique inspired by how our brain processes some information. It employs inherent randomness to embed inputs into high-dimensional and low-precision hypervectors, where information is evenly distributed, ensuring equal significance of all elements. And in HDC, all processes, including encoding hypervector, training associative memory, and associative search with similarity, are performed through simple vector operation such as binding, bundling, and matrix vector multiplication. This not only makes HDC robust to noise, but also very resource efficient. On the other hand, in-memory computing, IMC, tackles the classic memory processor bottleneck found in traditional von Neumann architectures. In an IMC array, each cell represents a single bit, and the array can perform column-wise multiplication and accumulation directly with an input. Due to the compatibility between HDC and IMC, numerous studies have focused on combining these technologies. However, mapping associative memory onto IMC arrays is not straightforward. In HDC, for some classification tasks, associative memory is typically implemented by representing each class with a high-dimensional class vector. This kind of tall structure means that directly mapping these vectors to IMC array would require too many arrays, leaving many arrays columns underutilized. An alternative solution is partitioning method to partition each class vector into multiple segments and map them to the available columns. This reduces the number of arrays needed, but it requires computing similarities across all partitions for each partitioned query vectors, which increase the computation cycles. This results in a clear trade-off between array usage and processing time. So, to overcome these challenges, we propose a solution tailored for IMC arrays that leverages a multi-centroid associated memory structure. Rather than representing each class with a single vector, our approach assigns multiple centroids per class. This multi-centroid strategy not only dramatically reduces the dimensionality of the hypervectors, but also ensures full utilization of the IMC array columns, cutting down both the number of arrays and the required computation cycles. To create an associative memory optimized for IMC arrays, we propose 4 key processes. It will be detailed later. Considering IMC characteristics, we employ random projection encoding and dissimilarity-based associative search method, ensuring all operations can be performed using only MVM operations. The first step is clustering-based initialization. First, we cluster the encoded sample hypervectors within each class. This clustering approach ensures that multiple class vectors representing the same class are well distributed in the sample hypervector space, with each vector capturing different features. We implement k-means clustering using dissimilarity as our distance metric, consistent with our associative search method. The number of centroids per class is initially determined by an initial cluster ratio R, and any remaining columns are then allocated to the classes that are more challenging as determined by validation. Next, to maximize memory efficiency when mapping to the IMC array, we binarize the floating point associative memory that was initialized through clustering. We do this by using the average value as a threshold, ensuring that the memory representation is both compact and efficient. After initialization, we train the binary associative memory by extending the method from the existing work quantiHD to our Multi-Centroid framework. The training process proceeds in four steps. First, similar to standard HDC, we focus on mispredicted samples by computing the dot similarity between the binary associative memory and each sample's hypervector. When a misprediction occurs, it's because a sample is more similar to a class vector from another class than to the nearest class vector of its true class. So we pick two target class vectors, the most similar one within the true class and the most similar one overall for updating. These selected target class vectors are then updated in the floating point associated memory using bundling based learning. Finally, to prevent any class vector from going too large or too small over training time, we apply normalization and then binarize to update our binary associated memory. With training complete, we map both the binary random projection matrix used for encoding hypervectors and our trained associated memory onto the IMC array. During inference, associative search is performed by computing the dot similarity between the binary query vector and the class vectors stored in the array. The number of arrays required to map the entire encoding module and associated memory when using m by m IMC arrays is calculated by the equation shown here. In our first evaluation, we compared our approach against 4 binary HDC models: Search HD, quantiHD, HDC, and basic HDC in terms of accuracy and memory footprint. For this comparison, we use 3 benchmark dataset: MNIST, Fashion MNIST, and Isolate. Our approach finds a sweet spot between accuracy and efficiency. For example, our intermediate 256 by 256 structure achieves 13 times better memory efficiency at the same accuracy. And when compared at equal memory usage, it even delivers about 13% higher accuracy. Our 128 by 128 structure achieves comparable or higher accuracy than basic HDC with 10,000 dimensions, while both use the same MVM-based encoding and associated search. Therefore, for each benchmark, we compared our method against 10,000 dimensional basic HDC in terms of performance and IMC resource requirements. When implementing with 128 by 128 IMC arrays, the significant dimension reduction leads to substantial decrease in both computation cycle and array usage across both the encoding module and associated memory. And the partitioning method shows no benefit in computation cycles. Furthermore, although it reduces the number of arrays in associated memory, the overall array usage count remains relatively high due to the dominance of encoding module. We also evaluated normalized energy consumption on the fashion MList dataset by comparing our 128 by 128 structure with baseline models with comparable accuracies. Although partitioning reduced the number of arrays, it increased computation cycles proportionally, keeping energy consumption constant. In contrast, our method reduced both the array usage and the computation cycles, resulting in significantly lower energy consumption. In conclusion, our research tackles the challenge of mapping high-dimensional HDC class vectors onto IMC arrays. By introducing a multi-centroid associative memory optimized for IMC, we achieve comparable or superior accuracy relative to existing baseline while also improving memory utilization and reducing computation cycles and lowering energy consumption. Our result shows that this approach effectively bridges the gap between HDC and IMC implementations. That wraps up my presentation. Thank you for listening.